It's time for the Roots and Roots Show with your host, Greg Rashid, bringing you history and music from the Black American diaspora. Greg and his guests' goal is to root the show's information in your psyche, providing you the roots to expand knowledge within your community. Now here's your host, Greg Rashid.
Well, I want to say good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the universe. This is Greg Rashid with another edition of the Root and Root Show. For many people, you listen at your convenience on the various platforms on the internet, but a lot of people listen every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. in Colorado on KUHSdenver.com, created by the one and only, what can I say? I just say the name, Henry Archuleta, the king of media himself. And I want to say hi to all my friends in the Colorado region. Really hoping to get back there to visit at some point next year. But anyway, I'm here right now in Bangkok, Thailand. And I want to say a special thanks also to all the new folks that have come in. I've mentioned in the past couple of weeks my new friends in Kenya. Saw some stats now that I got people listening in Denmark. So I want to say hi, my friends in Denmark, Brazil. We're getting all over the world. It takes a while, but we're getting all over the world. And really just keep talking now. I have interviewed just a wonderful person. I'm going to play the interview right now. I'm talking about Terry Liggins. She is a raw food expert on a little bit of everything. Just a beautiful person to listen to and talk to. So I'm just going to get to that interview right now. And please listen to her words because she is just inspirational. So let's hear this right now on the Root and Root Show. And again, this is Greg Rashid with the Root and Root Show. And I am so honored today to have on my program someone that she wears so many hats and just an amazing person. I met her many years ago in Vegas, and she has just got a message and just a powerful message. I have a number of her books here, but I'm going to concentrate on this one book called Get Your Raw On. And who I'm talking about is Terry Liggins. And she is on here. She just has a powerful message and just a vibrant personality. And I'm just so honored, just grateful and blessed to have Terry on there. And how you doing, Terry?
Oh, hi there, Greg. I am doing fantastic.
And
Thank
Terry
you
wanted,
so.
offline, she had to say that she has laryngitis, but she sounds great to me. Sounds better than me. But I really want to get into the whole this book, Get Your Raw On, and what, first of all, because you write so many books and you've done so much, but this book in particular, what made you decide, first of all, to even get into raw foods?
You know, it was something that mm, life decided it for me. And so I would have to go back a ways to to tell the full story of it, and I'll be brief. So I was just always a person that did a lot of stuff, just was always in this and that and going here and going there, not thinking anything of it. Putting myself last, I would say, was the route that I took,
Right.
unbeknownst to me how dangerous that is to do so. And so at age 40, my body said enough is enough, and I had a heart attack.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, so as you can imagine, you know, 40, that was the last thing on my mind. I had
right.
two children. I was married at the time, had two children, small children in elementary school, and had a 9 to 5 job. And I was having these, what I thought was indigestion, little heart palpitations and such. But again, I thought it was indigestion. So I would take some antacid and go to bed. And this was probably, I think this happened for like 2 days. And then at work, the one day I was at work, and I only went to work because I was training a new assistant. Otherwise,
Uh-huh.
I was feeling enough that I thought, well, maybe I should take a sick day. But no, only I could train this person, right? Yeah, right. So I went on to work, and throughout the day, she saw me, clutching my chest a little bit or whatever. And she would ask, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then finally she said, I don't think you're okay. I think you need to go and get that looked at, go to the urgent care. And I was like, no. And she pulled out this newspaper article from her wallet, and it was an obituary of her sisters. Her sister was only 33 years old when she passed from, I can't remember what the illness was, but she said her sister kept putting it off also. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
whoa. So I said, wow, this person was sent in my life, not just really to be my assistant at work, but to just be my, guide to say, stop being in denial and go and take care of this. And so I left work early, and here's the crazy part. At the time, I didn't think it was crazy, but before I went to the urgent care, I stopped at the after school daycare and picked up my children, got them home, got them situated with their homework, fixed dinner, left a note with for the husband to tell him that I'm going to the urgent care. So once I was there and they did an EKG, they said, you better call your husband. You're not leaving. We're admitting you. And I was still like, no way, I'm only 40. No, there's no time for this in my schedule. And so, yeah, that was, and I tell that part of it to just really alert people how taking care of everyone else but yourself gets you nowhere, nowhere good, nowhere,
Right. That's right.
healthy, not for long anyway. So, yeah, so that is what started the journey, because they did all kind of tests and scans and biopsies and all these things to figure out what caused this heart issue. And in doing so, they discovered that I had, or they gave me this diagnosis of sarcoidosis. And I had never heard of it. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it.
No, until I read
Um,
your book, I had never heard of.
yeah, yeah. So it's an autoimmune disease, and it can affect anywhere in your body where you have tissue. So guess what? That's pretty much almost anywhere, everywhere. Mine happened to be in my lungs. So my lymph nodes were swollen in my lungs. And no one, they say there's no cure for it, uh, because they have no known cause, no real known cause. Prior to the 1940s, it was always diagnosed as TB, tuberculosis,
Ah,
right? We grew up hearing about that among smokers and other things, but so it has all these similarities when it's in the lungs. But overall, it's no different than like lupus. As far as how they treat it, it's no different than lupus, MS, and those type of things. And it's like they just give you steroids.
and no
They
one, as you mentioned in the book, no one
crazy.
said anything about anything nutritional.
Nada. Mm-mm. Nope. Not at all. I had to, but I knew that I needed to find my way to the answer. W- Between a 6 month period, I was on 15 different meds.
Oh my
So that's
God.
what happens. Yeah, that's what happens in our healthcare system here in the U.S. Just meds and meds on top of meds. Because at the time I was being seen by a cardiologist, and then when they determined the sarcoidosis, they sent me to a pulmonologist. But I was still taking meds from the cardiologist, and then the pulmonologist said, "Well, you need to see an internal specialist." So those are three doctors giving me three different meds. And you know how one pill bottle says, if you're taking this, don't take that? Well, one day I was reading everything and I was taking this and that. I said, oh my goodness, they're going to kill me. Let me figure this out myself. And so I started.
And as they're giving you this stuff, they're getting their little kickbacks from the various
Yep.
pharmaceutical companies. They're getting a lot of money and pushing those drugs on
Yeah.
you. And people
Yeah.
talk about drug dealers on the streets and all, but the real drug dealers are in the
Mm-hmm.
hospitals, in these clinics, ready to
That's right.
push something on you. And and it's terrible. It's terrible because they don't teach
It
you
is.
anything about nutrition, what you should eat.
Yep.
It's all about here, take a pill. And unfortunately, as you talk about in the book, the thing is that with our folks, African Americans in particular, they really just try to drown us in pills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And and you can't really totally blame the doctors or the nurses. They're just caught up in the system. It's a broken healthcare system.
Right.
They're there to treat, not to get you well. They're not there to get to the root of the problem. They're there to treat the symptoms. And so we get caught up in this, like you said, because they're doctors. Oh, they must know what they're talking about. Yes, they are brilliant people. Yes, they know about medications, but they don't know your body better than you know your body.
Right.
So we need to wake up and become partners with these doctors. If you insist on being seen and if you insist on believing someone with a white coat just because they have that white coat on, you better brush up on your own information, brush up on the information on your own also. They don't mind being partners. They would love for you to be a partner with them and help them learn you better. But what we tend to do is we just go there and say, okay, fix me, doctor, fix me. They don't know
Right.
anything about your background. You're not keeping a daily journal. Now, and I say you, I'm speaking in general because I know you're very conscious yourself. So you would be doing the right things to the extent that's going to be best for you. But too often people just, they don't look at what they're eating. They don't think about all the different meds they're taking. And they're taking stuff for years. These
Years.
medicines are
Yeah.
not designed for you to take them for years. They have an arm length of side effects.
Right. And
It's,
for,
it's
different, and honestly, I read this thing a long time ago about medications, of how actually
mm,
different meds cause different reactions
oops.
to people. It's not just everyone should get the same thing. Someone could give
Yes.
you something, and I may have the same issue, and I get it, and it's going to have a crazy reaction to me versus you. And that's the thing that a lot of these doctors, they don't think about, or they don't care
It's
in some cases. But they, like you said, they're trained to be
it's
that way.
Yep, yep. They're seeing too many patients and they're on the clock. It's all about the dollar first.
Right.
And gone are the days where you have a doctor that's been with your family for years and years, and so you may get a little extra treatment because. And definitely gone are the days that they come to your home. Now we're coming back full circle, and that they're coming to your home through telehealth, but
Right.
you're still not going to get until you demand it. You're not going to get that personal attention. Now, what I did in my journey um, during this time. Now, this all happened back in the started in the year 2000. So, I didn't have a whole lot of things that at my disposal that I have now. There was no social media to really, bounce ideas off of people and hear about other people's journeys. I did a lot of that on my own. I started seeking out people who had newsletters or something about
Right.
sarcoidosis. I started looking for a journal that I can keep track of my, what I'm eating daily, what I'm taking. And I couldn't find one, so I had to create one. So I created one called my Wellness Helper, and I trademarked it and everything. And I started using that, and my doctor got used to me, or at least the PA, personal assistant is usually who I saw first or whatever. But they saw me coming with my little black journal, and they knew that it wasn't going to be an in and out kind of visit.
Right.
I had questions. I had questions written down.
And they don't want to hear that. They don't, they want you to come in, accept what they say, and leave.
Go, yeah, yeah. And mine were pretty good in that they didn't just dismiss what I had to say. They were probably shocked at first that I knew all these things to ask. But like I said, I think they would prefer you to be like that than for them to get it wrong and injure you, because they're giving you something that will counteract what else you're taking, because they don't know what else you're taking.
Right.
So it was an interesting journey along the way. It was a 12 and a half year journey until I was introduced to raw foods.
And how did that happen? And by the way, I want to let those who are just tuning in, I'm talking with Terry